How's everybody doing? There's the scripture I read this morning off of here, social media. A Christian person says, don't be anxious about anything, but everything with prayer and supplication make your requests known. And the peace that passes all human understanding will control and lead your life. And give thanks, praise. So, Paul, I always watch his channel and his videos. He went on a rant and he was losing his cool because Donald Trump is contesting the elections, and a lot of the GOP leaders, well, at least key ones, not a lot of them, but key ones, are supporting him, and others are silent on this issue. And I spoke about that on my other channel, What You Need, in terms of partisan schism and fanboyism and so on. But I want to talk a little bit about the process of democracy. And I want Paul to know that the process of democracy is what is on display right now. So there will be recounts. Whoever wants to challenge things can challenge it in the courts of law. These are institutions. And as the process carries itself out, we will see ultimately what will happen. I don't think we should be mad. This is how it is. People have different opinions, different views. Democracy wouldn't be democracy, whether the views are dangerous or not. It wouldn't be democracy if these views are not expressed. I always believe that people being able to freely express themselves actually creates a much safer environment than people who are not free to express themselves and they hide a lot of things. See, what people didn't realize, and I think the HBO comedian, I forgot what his name is, the British guy, he was saying is that America's always been, it's always had people with beautiful ideals and then other people who had destructive ideals and isolationist ideals. Trump's an isolationist. Trump is a autocrat. So he's not a diplomat. He's not into that stuff. He's into results, but he's not into results by collaboration and consultation. He's into results by mandate. So there has been a significant portion of the American public who has believed that they have been forced into a position to empower a Donald Trump because he represents them in certain ways. So you have to understand people who may have voted for Trump, not necessarily the majority of them, but the people who voted for Donald Trump that go to his rallies, that you see them everywhere, they go for different reasons, but suffice it to say he represents some aspect of their of their lives and their well-being. Okay? Now, me personally, as someone from outside of the United States of America watching in, me personally, I say let the democratic process carry on. There are systems in place to deal with what Donald Trump is doing, and we're going to discover them. We're going to discover what they are. So, by and large, you should not be distressed about Donald Trump. You should be concerned, but not distressed. And you shouldn't be distressed about the House either or the Senate. Um, this is a time for action and mobilization. I'm sure the people who are supposed to be mobilizing should do so. As you said, you're going to contribute to what is happening in Georgia. That's what you need to do. Focus on the things you need to do. Don't let this guy spoil your day, Donald Trump spoil your day, if you're adversely affected by him. Okay? So don't he the thing about Donald Trump is that he worked to alarm, he worked to get people's attention, especially with his mouth and his tweets. He's been very inflammatory. Okay? Some of his policies are good and a lot of his policies are terrible. Right? He's put key people into key positions and some of them are not going to be removed anytime soon. And that's just the way that is. We have to learn to exist amongst each other and help each other become better. And the only way that's going to happen is through people understanding that we cannot just immediately look at someone and say they and demonize them. That's what we've been doing, tagging and labeling people because we picked sides and we chose where we wanted to be. To look at people as people and deal with them as people. And when we get to know each other, then we can judge them accordingly. I think there's a lot of people who voted for Trump, a lot of people who are decent people, and and for various reasons they did so. But um, a lot of them underestimated the kind of person that he was in terms of our democracy. And so a lot of them, even those who voted for him in this election, are somewhat appalled by the manner in which he's behaving now. Now, if the elections were closer, they probably would have given him more a benefit of the doubt. But most people, even people who voted for Donald Trump, and there's a significant amount of people who voted for Donald Trump, who've been mobilized to vote for him, and also who voted for him, who did not see him as a threat to democracy. And then there's another set of people who voted for him knowing he's a threat to democracy and the institutions that have been put in place. But they see it as a win if he can destabilize and destroy this system and create a new system, not understanding. I think they haven't thought it all the way out to the conclusion because they're thinking of themselves benefiting, that the way of life that we have now will be it will be evaporated, and it will be quite a horrid life. And they just don't realize that as yet, just as how the Germans didn't realize the kind of atrocities that Adolf Hitler would do. And so this is basically history repeating itself in terms of totalitarian governments and overthrows. This is what Donald Trump wants to do. He wants the support of his, Russia, China, South Korea, North Korea. He wants to be able to do the same thing to American politics and take down America. Um, this is the direction in which he's going, inevitably. However, there are checks and balances put in place to ensure he does not do that. And the Democratic process has to be rigorous enough to be able to handle him and deal with him. So that's as much as I will give you with Donald Trump. There's no reason for outrage. We've been in 4 years of outrage and people have been behaving crazy, even myself. There's no need for that. We need to have a measure now of stability. I think Joe Biden's going to bring a level of stability to the world in spite of all the traumas and attacks that will happen to the civility and democracy of not just America, but the countries that purport to have democracy and be republics. The other thing that's going to be very interesting is letting people understand that you can't think straight if you're excitable. You have to be calm. You have to have a plan. And there's a game plan in place for Joe Biden. And I think higher ups, and I know that sounds strange, but higher ups want him to be in the position he is in. And therefore, he's going to be in that position. There's a lot of positive and negative things that can come out of that. I noticed that people are still pushing for masks as if masks can save you. And I said on the other channel that masks, you put anything in front of your face, it reduces the spread of something. Now, this is better than a mask in several different ways. Now, if you're in an air-conditioned room, not so much. But if you're in open spaces or outdoors, this is actually better. I'll tell you why. That's a solid surface. So if I cough into that surface, if I have COVID, for example, and I cough into the surface, it literally blocks everything from going this way towards you, right? It blocks everything. There will be spreading this way and that way, and depending on the breeze, if the breeze or airflow is going that direction, it'll go that way. But it's dissipated, okay? It's dissipated, so it's not as dangerous. By the way, you can't just get COVID from people just like that. Just like with the common cold, you have to be around someone long enough. They're breathing on you all the time for you to get these diseases because it's coronavirus. However, a mask that's on your face is porous. So when you cough, what happens is it's still dissipated. More is caught by the thing, but it still projects forward in a mist. So actually, a mask is not as safe as say now that I have there. Which a lot of people would not. It's counterintuitive to some people because they're so brainwashed into listening what everyone says. Also, masks don't protect you from COVID. It protects other people if you have COVID from getting it. And it does a lousy job because it makes you even more sick. You have acid reflux or respiratory problems. A mask will definitely kill you. So please be careful with your masks. Don't use them all the time. Try to use them when it's absolutely necessary. And it's so I can understand why certain Republic districts they literally ignored the mask rule and people just went about carrying about their business without the proper necessary precautions. That is, knowing how to boost your immune system, how to protect your immune system, because it involves several different things. Like I said before, it's not just one thing. And on top of that, and while I personally don't like using masks at all because my airflow is restricted, and that's not a good thing for me, um, I will say that the the idea that they're correlating things. They're saying, when people use masks, that's the reason why COVID cases go down. I will propose one thing for people to think about. While the mask law or people using masks and advocate to use masks is an interesting thing that can be helpful in the sense that it gives people discipline and people take the thing seriously because the mask makes people think that this is a serious thing and not go out and party and stuff. I think it's more the younger people spreading the COVID to the older people, I think. And the deaths are mostly probably correlating to people who are with pre-existing conditions or they are up in age. But what's very important for people to understand is I am a very disciplined person. What I mean by that is I'm not just going to go out there willy-nilly and mix with crowds and I know there's a disease going around. All right, like a common cold or something. I don't want to get it. Wow. Okay. Again, my airflow is a little bit. Oh, wow. Okay. Right. So, anyway, I got to go in a couple minutes, but I just wanted to talk to you guys in a sensible way from a healthcare perspective. So, what does masks do? Why are masks helpful? They're not very helpful, but they can prevent, of course, the spread of something, just like how you block something, okay? But why why there are better things than masks, the thing that really protects you from viruses, that is to say, it's very important to protect you from viruses. And it's always been about prevention better than cure, right? You don't go to the hospital. And unfortunately, a lot of Americans do not eat healthy. But let's just get back to the point. Or sleep or do healthy things. The thing that a lot of people need to focus on, more important than anything, is boosting your immune system. Using your multivitamins. If you can't get multivitamins in fruits and vegetables, which may lack those nutrients, then you should be out there trying to get a multivitamin supplement to use along with your foods. So a lot of people use oily foods and just very poor diet. And if you're that kind of person, like Donald Trump was, you probably get COVID. Another thing that majority of people, and this is just something I use, selenium. Another thing that a majority of people use, which is bad for their health, some of them have improper practices and habits that they do that make them more susceptible to getting infections. Okay? This is black seed oil. It's very good. So, um, but if you live a relatively healthy, not fit, healthy lifestyle, it's not bad. Flaxseed oil is like an oil. It's very good. Relatively healthy lifestyle. You drink relatively good amounts of water. It's very important. You're going to be able to have a relatively normal existence, even in this COVID time. As we all know, the majority of you are okay. The problem with COVID is it out of this blooper that happened worldwide, which should have been contained and should have been kept in China. Um, this would have been a byword otherwise. If another president was in power, this would not even have wouldn't have gotten to the extent that it is. The H1N1 flu and all of that, it would have been under wraps. But it kind of blew out of proportion thanks to Donald Trump. But nonetheless, COVID. Yeah, so use this back. Yeah, COVID. Is something that can be the problem. It can be contained. Now, the problem with COVID is that you can have it, and you can be a carrier, and because your body's so healthy or whatever, sort of asymptomatic. That is to say, you're not showing any symptoms. Pretty much like the common cold. I can have the common cold, I had a few sniffles, but that's it. But that bug is so dangerous and bad, it could stay with me for months. And what happens is, I end up spreading that bug to somebody else, breathing on them, being close to them, or in the same room all the time. And that person gets the bug in a tremendously terrible way and dies. And that's the problem with COVID. It's a really bad bug, manufactured bug. So someone can get that bug and die. They can, especially if they're not doing the right things for their immune system. It can kill them. Okay? So, as a result of that, COVID has been wreaking havoc in the United States of America. Am I a mass proponent of masks? No, but I understand why people are using them. I don't believe that they are the best solution to the problem. I don't believe vaccines are the best solution to the problem. I think the best solution to the problem is boosting your immune system. That's how you get through COVID. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. That's a lifestyle thing, right? But you can tremendously boost your immune system by doing some very simple things. Very, very simple things. So, it is what it is, and especially in certain countries right now where the weather has changed some. But even when the weather has changed, again, I want to just explain, because there are a lot of at-risk people. I know one of my uncles, he's at risk right now because he's doing chemo and it's weakened his body, and he's going through that period of time to try and deal with the cancer. And so, him getting COVID on top of that's not a good thing. However, because my aunt knows nutrition and so on, she's giving him, like my mother was getting, until certain people had their say, she was getting a lot of boosting, a lot of nutritional boosting for her body. And one of the best nutrients you can give someone is water. But of course, you can't give them too much water. You could drown them. They have reflux and they can die from the reflux. It's pretty much what happened to my mother and my dad. He had a drink of water, he refluxed, and he died because he was lying flat My mom, they were telling me to put her down flat before she just died. And they finally got me to put her down flat. As soon as it happened, the reflux happened, and she did not recover from the second reflux. I really tried. I prayed everything, but it didn't happen. And you could hear she was drowning, and you could hear the water going into her lungs. But and I hate talking about it, but it's a part of reality. It could happen to you. It could happen to me. You could drown. So, and I have reflux problems, so that's why I'm able to tell you guys about this very easily. The reflux problems are caused by me. It's caused by constipation, by improper habits that I have, and I'm stopping them. And that's why I said lifestyle influences disease. Now, people don't understand that. It's what you do that actually brings you to become sick, whether you're aware of it or not. You know? So, anyway, as I'm preparing different things and doing different things in this house. Um, so, suffice it to say, I think that, you know, masks are, I don't see them as big contributors to preventing people from getting COVID, but I can see it from a disciplinary point of view as being something that people can use. People have always used masks in various uh, epidemics. You know, in Africa when the SARS was going around, people wearing masks. So it's not something that's not standard. We don't see in different countries. It's just that it's not something that's necessarily bad. It's just that for me, I don't see the need. I would advocate for people boosting their immune systems so that if they do get COVID, it's not as severe as if someone who's immunocompromised, because it is people who are immunocompromised, whether they know it or not, whether they're fit or not, that when they get COVID, they get it severely. Let me make it abundantly clear. When you get a virus, it stays in your system for weeks. Even when you look like you're fully recovered, the virus is still there. That's why you can have a relapse. That's why I try to explain to people that how you live is very important to your health. Okay, so that's how much as I want to say about that. So shout out to Paul. I always watch your videos, buddy. And I hope that you'll be able to calm down, keep your composure, and just realize I tuned out of Donald Trump a long time ago. I wasn't following anything he did. I know he has made some horrendous policies that can hurt a lot of people. And he's also done some relatively good policies that could help people of color and so on. But he's a lot of people will want to breathe a sigh of relief for a couple of minutes when he's out of office. At least he's not president. He's not calling the shots. And I hope people understand that you cannot be lackadaisical in terms of voting. Now, if he had had a second term, democracy would have been gone. And we would have had a Hitler situation. And I think he's still trying to run for president again. He might try to run again and get even a more slate of people like-minded like himself in the positions to do so. He's got some of them right now tasting that kind of power by pushing them into his different key positions right now in governance, which is a scary thought. But I'm just saying that, um, a lot of these guys have been corrupt. A lot of these guys have been profiteering off of the people. And the people feel they really are somewhat naive in that respect. They feel that they're going to benefit by representation by this guy who's pretty much a terrible politician to start with. And it's just something that, I always try to explain to people. It's hard to see the other side when you are so invested in one side of the equation. But it's very important to see both sides and then understand that, okay, You put politics aside, at least big politics, federal politics aside, and you begin to realize the everyday runnings of life have very little to do with that until it trickles down and affects you. Okay, so as much as people can argue a conversation about Trump or about other things, it does not change that your family or you have to deal with each other. So I try to explain to people before you call people who voted for Trump, I don't care who they are, I don't care how racist they look on TV. Before you judge them, why don't you get to know them? And similarly, for those people who are isolated and think the world is the way how it is, um, why don't you take time to look at the so-called liberal people, the people who you say are so liberal, left-wing, and crazy and wild or whatever, Antifa people or whatever. Why don't you take the time to get to know them first? So I was saying something, I can't remember what it was I was saying. So anyway, all I want to say to people is, listen. You know, wow, you know what the elections were, and you saw the results. Now it's time to just prepare yourself, and where you can support, you support, and that's all that matters. Try to take your attention off things that are negative, that affect you negatively. Keep your eye on it in terms of follow what's going on, but don't lose your cool. If the president elect is not losing his cool and he's going ahead with what needs to be done, then so should you. As to the people who are trying to frustrate justice and so on, I do believe that there needs to be checks and balances on those people, and all the lawmakers and the people who enforce need to do is measure the law. This person is trying to make noise to become inflammatory. He's looking for a response from people like yourself. He's looking for you to enrage you so that he can get the divisiveness that he needs. So you will turn against people who support him and won't communicate with them. The key is to communicate with people that support him and dissuade them, regardless of their decision, even if they support Trump, but dissuade them from inflammatory actions and dissuade them from taking uh, drastic measures. Let them know that we're Americans, you guys are Americans. It was a competition. Okay, Biden won the competition, but we're Americans at the end of the day, and we need you. You have to let people know they have value and worth and that they're necessary. And you also need to recognize their voice. These people are not speaking in a void. They were not represented, one. Two, they're saying that certain ideas and principles we strongly agree with, I think you should take a look at, America. And if you're still villainizing them and treating them like if they're trash, when in fact, some of the points they make are valid points. Okay? They're really valid points. They're good points. And if you guys could just agree on certain points which you guys have in common, maybe, just maybe, they may take a look at you. But if you keep on antagonizing them and keep on, being the enemy of them because you're just going to verify what they think you are in the first place. Because a lot of right wing people do not trust left wing. I was saying, so, families, they get along with each other and they do it because your political allegiance or who you vote for it's not a sin. It doesn't make you criminal that you vote for a certain person, no matter what. And we need to stop indicting people because they voted for Trump. That's an alienating thing to do to your fellow American, whether you like it or not. That's their right, and there's a choice. So don't be like Donald Trump. Don't be autocratic. Oh, it should be Biden or nobody else. No, and we need to listen to them. We need to listen to them. There's a reason. You need to listen to people why they voted for who they voted for and have a sensible, reasonable, civil discussion about it. I have a cousin. He's black, and he probably voted for Trump if he didn't vote at all, and he voted for Barack Obama before. It happens. They look and weigh the situations of different people, and they vote for certain people, and there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, so we have to stop villainizing people. Oh, the people, I can't understand. Oh, certain people voted for Donald Trump. Well, some people don't understand why you voted for Biden. You know what I mean? I fully understand why you voted for Biden, but you have to understand that there's a divide where some people are indoctrinated a certain way and some people are indoctrinated another way. Media has a lot to do with that. But what's the truth? What's the truth of the matter? And all you have to do is explore the facts of the case and look into it yourself. Look at other media that may have sourced certain information, and you find out for yourself, oh, okay, yeah, this is where we live at now. Sometimes it's neither of the pushing stuff that the media is pushing. So in this age, you really have to have critical thinking skills. And remember, people have the right to vote for whoever the hell they want to vote for. Okay? People have the right to do that. That's democracy. We need to uphold democracy. The moment we're saying, oh, they should never have voted for this guy, I understand where you're coming from in terms of character, but in terms of um, what they should or shouldn't do, you can't tell people what they should or shouldn't do. They should be free to do whatever the hell they want to do. And that's just the way how that goes. That's what makes democracy so great. Now there was a fair contest. Trump lost, and now it's time for him to make steps to plan his future in another sort of way. Okay, so right now he's contesting the elections, which is again his right to do in certain states where the margin is below a certain amount. He can contest, like Georgia, I think. Um, I think Georgia. I'm not too sure. Biden's lead could be even more. Remember, the states are still counting the votes, and when they're finished counting the votes, they certify the votes. The votes will be certified. So, regardless of whatever Donald Trump says, once those votes are certified, the GSA has to come out and say, listen, this election was won by Joe Biden because it's certified. And then when the states come and put in their electoral votes on November, the end of this month, it will now be law. So it doesn't matter. You understand? It doesn't matter what people do in the interim. That can most of that stuff can be undone, and you have to understand also, especially the way how Washington works, that all of the um, top security agencies, no matter who you put as a figurehead or you try to change, the structure of them, which is what Trump has been trying to do for the last 4 years. No matter what you do, the people who you sack or fire, like he has done to several people, James Comey is one of them. These people, these people are specialists. They know what they're doing. So the moment you fire these guys, you got to understand you have not fired their expertise. That's what a lot of people don't understand. In these political circles, um, I'm not going to say much more, but if you know, I'm not going to say much more, but there's a lot that still can carry on. See, Donald Trump's not the only person who can carry on things after he's president and he's outside of the circuit. Some people who are considered no longer in certain positions um, of power officially um, can still operate. And I give you an example. Okay, so Zack Snyder has videos, man. I'll check you out, guys, later. Peace.